Ferrari 812 Superfast. When it comes to literal names, they don't come much more literal than Superfast, do they? Ferrari has given us one for a day, so we're going to test it on the hairpins of northern Italy, and I'll run you through all of the technical updates. But before that, first thing in the morning, we are going to take it for a few laps of Ferrari's Fiorano test circuit. What an introduction then to an 800 metric horsepower, was that 789 brake horsepower Super GT car. Somebody's own test track. However, Ferrari will tell me, as they will tell you, that this car is much easier to drive than an F12, which it replaces, despite the extra poke. Thanks to lessons learned from the TDF, which was not an easy car to drive, but the active rear steer that it has been put on here to help. I will come on to all the technical details in a minute. Right, first impressions. Cabin architecture, not dissimilar to an F12's, updated nicely. It's got the secondary display there, which the passenger can look at. Made its debut on the GTC, looks really nice actually. Steering is quick, it is the same ratio as the F12's, but it is electric for the first time, electrically assisted. So it's still light, still very direct, very responsive, but it will do clever things. And what it does is, if the back begins to slide, it doesn't steer for you. It's electric, it could do theoretically, but what it does do is it reduces the amount of torque you need to steer into the slide and apply opposite lock, as to encourage drivers to apply opposite lock if the rear steps out, and to bring the limits that much closer to you. So if you get a bit of understeer, and it is possible to get a bit of understeer, the active rear steer will just sort of turn in to try and help the front turn, so it'll turn against the front. If you get oversteer, they call it virtual short wheelbase, it's not really, it's kind of virtual long wheelbase. If you get oversteer, what it'll do is it'll turn with the front wheels to try and make that slide more manageable. In the TDF, that transition was weird, it was odd. It was a really spiky, hard car to drive quickly. We've got CT on, which allows a little bit of slip. And when it comes, it does not come anything like as drastically as in a TDF. It feels immediately quite an easy car to drive. I mean, that's an absurd thing to say, isn't it? But it feels quite settled, it feels quite controlled. So it revs to nearly 9,000 now, which is a lot, isn't it, for a 6.5 litre, so it's bigger than the old 6.2. Oh. Yeah, that gets on fairly quickly. The engine response time, Ferrari says, is the same as the F12 TDF's response time, and that was absolutely crackers. It is so sharp. Makes an amazing noise, just a bigger. This has been mapped, it feels to me, to be a little bit more usable, a little bit more accessible, thankfully. Because it's not one of the rare specials, it is the everyday mainstream Ferrari Super GT car, everyday mainstream. It's 250,000 quid and it's got 800 horsepower. If only all cars were so everyday and mainstream. The brakes are good, carbon ceramics come as standard on all Ferraris these days, and the brake pedal feel is good. This car is good. This car is definitely easier to drive than a TDF. I mean, that's no surprise, is it? But it is also much less spiky than an F12, I think, even. Oh yeah, what a car. That's absurd. I'm sorry, but that's absurd. This is a rear weight biased 800 horsepower V12 that behaves like a GT86. And elsewhere, it feels like a Ferrari. Just the character of the F12 and the TDF just ooze through it. And it makes you feel a lot better than you are when you are as well. What a piece of kit. Right, science bit. Okay, so the 812 Superfast is the most powerful series production Ferrari ever. The V12 engine is still based on the Enzo's engine of 2002, when it was a 6-litre unit, and it still uses that very same block. But now, at 6.5 litres, it is as big, Ferrari says, as this engine can possibly get. There are still no turbos, just revs. It spins to 8,900 RPM, making peak power at 8,500 RPM. And if you're thinking, that sounds revvy, you're right. Peak torque, and only 530 pounds-foot of it, comes in at 7,000 RPM. That gives the following headline figures: 0 to 62 miles an hour in 2.9 seconds, 0 to 124 miles an hour, that's 200 kilometres an hour, in 7.9 seconds, and a top speed of 211 miles an hour. The car's dual-clutch gearbox is mounted at the rear, which gives the 812 a slight rearward weight bias. The chassis itself is similar to the F12's. New construction methods make it a bit more rigid, but the car's weight remains the same at a claimed 1,630 kilos at the curb, though the last time we weighed one full of fuel, an F12 was just over 1,700 kilos, so that's what you should assume here. There is actual real downforce front and rear, partly because of the shape of the car over the top, but mostly because of new underbody treatment. But it is the power steering and rear steer system that is the really big advance over the F12 and the TDF. Electric steering is much more tunable than hydraulic steering, and Ferrari has made one ECU to monitor and control all of the car's dynamic functions. So, the adaptive dampers, the electronically controlled differential, the stability and drift control systems all work with the active rear steer and electric power steering. The rear steer the correct way to make it easier to drive on the limit, while the power steering needs less force to turn it one way or another to give you hints about which way you want to turn the wheel. What does all of that equate to on the road? Let's go to the steering first. Maybe it doesn't feel quite as natural as it did before, but still, honestly, in terms of weighting, in terms of speed, it's pretty much there or thereabouts. It's a lovely setup. It's 2 turns lock to lock. Sometimes it can feel a little bit quick on straighter, higher speed roads, but really when you're on switchbacks like this, oh God, listen to that. It is magnificent. I was just going to calmly go down here and tell you what it's like, but God, this thing is so addictive. Every time you get in it, you just want to work that engine, and because it's got the extra capacity, the extra stroke, it's got quite a lot of torque from low down, but you don't have to rev it, but why wouldn't you, frankly? Those faster gear shifts, you can really tell, especially on the downshifts, they're so fast. Apparently you can fit into 3 downshifts where you used to be able to fit in 2. There's quite a lot of front end grip to lean on, but then as soon as you get back on the power if you want it to, there's so much of it that it'll light up the rears. How much is too much power? How much before it becomes just too much? Well, the guy who looks after Ferrari's dynamics says no much is too much if you can control it. I think he's probably got a point. It's so rapid though, this thing. It's so absurdly quick, but good fun all the time, and far easier to drive than an F12 or a TDF. That's ridiculously good, ridiculously adjustable. So it's got a brilliant noise, a brilliant gearbox, excellent steering, fabulous handling, a good ride. It looks like a Ferrari, it sounds like a Ferrari, it goes like a Ferrari. Raffaele Di Simone, who is Ferrari's sort of chief engineer, says, no car is perfect, of course. And he's right, but I tell you what, when it comes to Super GTs, nobody has yet got closer.